Hey guys, what's going on? So today I have an album review for DISGORGE's Consume the Forsaken. In the background, we are playing Defeated Sanity's Prelude to the Tragedy. So, yep. Alright, so anyways, this is DISGORGE's third full-length album, and arguably their most popular. This, Cranial Impalement, and She Lay Good all kind of, like, are the three most popular DISGORGE albums. Basically everything besides Parallelism and Infinite Torture. Although that one's also, all their albums are fairly popular in their discography, but I think this is the album that, like, really put them on the map in terms of, like, one of the best brutal death metal bands, because this is a very masterful album, and it's one of the best brutal death metal albums ever made. Here's the album cover, done by John Dig, more digital, of course, than their first two albums, which were obviously more hand-drawn. Still pretty awesome, though. I love this album cover. I actually have a hoodie with this on the back print, and the DISGORGE logo on the front, and the Consume the Forsaken thing on the sleeve. Really awesome. There's the back. You got all the song titles. You got Demise of the Trinity, Perverse Manifestation, Manipulation of Faith, Consecrating the Reviled, Indulging Dismemberment of a Mutilating Breed, Consume the Forsaken, Dissecting the Apostles, Denied Existence, and Divine Suffering, which is pretty cool. So you got 10 songs on here. It's pretty decent length album, half an hour. Longer than She Lay Gutted or Cranial Impalement, I'm sure. There's the disc behind it. Cool picture of the band. I like the layout of this CD actually quite a bit. Great lineup on here. Maddie Way was no longer on vocals, unfortunately, but they got the next best vocalist, which is AJ Magana. His vocals, I don't know if I'd say as a vocalist I like him as much as Maddie Way, but his performance on here is up to par with what Maddie Way did with DISGORGE, in my opinion. Here's the booklet. But yeah, awesome lineup on here. Of course, still with Diego Sanchez, Ben Marlin, and Ricky Myers. Cool artwork, like the Jesus thing. I've also seen some merch with that on it. That art style is very like H.R. Geiger-esque. It's kind of cool. It kind of reminds me of Danzig, Danzig 3. Pretty cool. Lyrics, of course, took a more anti-religious tone on here, a lot less gory and juvenile than on like She Lay Gutted or Cranial Impalement. But this album is a lot less. This album has a lot less of like that like atmosphere that She Lay Gutted has, and it's a lot more just straight up aggressive and pissed off. I mean, especially because of A, the production, and B, AJ Magana's vocals. Because first of all, the production is there's still that scooped sound on the guitars, and the drums are still fairly triggered. But the drums have a little bit more of an organic feel on this album. The production here is a little more organic and less like it still has that like scooped, like, you know, old school brutal death metal sound, but it's a lot less flat sounding than She Lay Gutted or Cranial Impalement. It's still kind of muddy, but I don't know, the guitars aren't quite as loud on here. The drums are pretty loud in the mix, but I don't mind at all. Like I said, more organic drum tone. The bass is not really audible on here at all, except for a few parts, but for the most part, mostly you'll hear guitars, drums, and vocals. And the vocals have a really awesome production. And fucking AJ Magana's vocals just really make this album feel really just hateful and bitter and just vile. Like, his vocals have this really venomous kind of tone to them. And he does a lot of different stuff, similar to how, I mean, he doesn't go quite as low as Maddie Way, but he makes up for it in sheer fucking aggression. His vocals just sound like an enraged fucking deity. They're insane. And there's some really memorable vocal patterns on here, and songs like Perverse Manifestation, Demise of the Trinity, the title track. Anyways, Demise of the Trinity, the first song on here, is one of the best songs on here. One of the things with this album as well, if you want an album that's just, if you want like a go-to album that's just super fucking fast and heavy and aggressive, I don't think I could think of a better album to give you than this. Because if you just want to put something on and instantly hear fucking blast beats and gutturals and, you know, just fast shit, that's this album. There are very few moments on here where it slows down. Like, I'd say, I forget which song it is. I want to say it's Dissecting the Apostles, but I'm not entirely sure. But there's one song on here where it slows down at like the around the middle of the song it slows down, and then they kind of go into this slow, like kind of chunky riff. And there are plenty of those chunkier riffs on here, but they're a lot less slammy and simple, and they're more just like palm muted, super fast, complicated power chord patterns. And the guitar work on here is really technical. Like, I know how to play the title track on here on guitar, and it's like really hard and confusing. And it's even less like, if Sheila Gutted and Cranial Impalement like have very little formula. I mean, okay, in those songs, like, you know, a few riffs will repeat, or like variations of riffs, or at least will repeat. On this album, almost nothing repeats in the songs. So a lot more of an avant-garde kind of songwriting, just really grindy. There are some really great riffs buried within the production that are kind of hard to hear. The more you listen to this, you'll kind of find them. But obviously, with this kind of brutal death metal, it's mainly just about the wall of sound and that aggression. And I don't know, this is just one of the most, like, you could tell there was like some emotion put into the performances on here. It's just such a in-your-face, like, venomous fucking album. The vocal patterns are just really memorable, like I said, and the drums have that really just organic feel. I already said this, I'm repeating myself quite a bit, but it's a very simple joy of an album. It takes more listening to get used to than Sheila Gutted, in my opinion, because the song structures are more complicated, so it takes more listening to memorize the way the songs go. But like, this is an album that you'll put on and instantly get. It's a little bit less generic sounding to the average listener than the first two Disgorge albums. I'm not calling those generic, but when you're like just an average death metal fan, you hear this style of brutal death metal, it sounds generic upon first listen. It was like that for me. But then the more you get into it, you notice like the subtleties of these bands and what makes them unique. I mean, this is just a super influential album. So many bands made clones of this album. I mean, Decrepit Birth's first album is very similar to this. I mean, this is the most blast beaty Disgorge album as well. There's like, the blast beats and double bass are almost non-stop on here, like I said, except for a few slow parts. And I don't know, this is just a top tier album. This is a very professional sounding album from Disgorge compared to the first two. It's a lot less almost dropped it. It's a lot less juvenile, and it's just a very fun album to listen to. It's got that really aggressive vibe, like with any brutal death metal album, but a little more so on here. And yeah, it's just a classic album for a good fucking reason. It's just a perfect album, really. Can't think of anything wrong with it. I don't know. It's just a great album from this era of brutal death metal. Obviously put out through Unique Weird Records, forgot to mention. I'll say this came out in 2002. I don't know if it says anywhere on here. Yeah, 2002. Yeah, highly recommend this. If you're new to Disgorge, not a bad place at all to start either. Not as guttural or nasty as the first two albums, but it's a lot more hateful than anything else they've done. This is the most hateful sounding Disgorge album in my opinion. I sound so fucking edgy, but you get the idea. It is just that kind of album. But yeah, this is like one of like the essential brutal death metal albums. If you're into brutal death metal, there's no reason you shouldn't have listened to this. Like I said, so many bands rip off this album. Some do it really good, others make it sound really generic, but this is where that whole style really started to take off. So yep, Disgorge, Consume the Forsaken. Honestly, I'd probably give this like a 10 out of 10. It's just a really perfect brutal death metal album. It would be my favorite if Sheila Gutted weren't so fucking amazing. Sheila Gutted, I feel the songwriting is a little bit more, I like that atmosphere on Sheila Gutted and the songwriting more than on here, but this album has like the most, like, I feel like the performances on this album are a little better than, but the songwriting on Sheila Gutted is stronger. I don't know. Oh, that, and this album is really well produced. It's like very like Sheila Gutted and Cranial Impalement. When you turn up the volume on those albums with headphones, it sounds really sharp. This one has a little bit more of like a warm-ish production. When you can turn up the volume and like it won't hurt your fucking ears like the other two albums. It's a little less thin on the production as well. A lot punchier than Sheila Gutted. Maybe not as punchy as this is Consume the Forsaken. Not as punchy as like Cranial Impalement, but it's got a more organic kind of feel. So yeah, that's it for this review though. Hope you guys enjoyed. Next I'll probably review Parallelism Infinite Torture so I can finish reviewing all the Disgorge albums. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. See you next time. Bye.